Oh, hey, how you doing? I didn't see you over there. You alright? I was just reading my latest copy of Woman's Weekly. It's a fascinating read this time, I've got to say. Piers Brosnan making peace with the sorrows of his past. Fascinating. Ooh, kimono style cardi. Fresh new recipes with watercress. I love watercress, I do. Ugh, I could go for some right now. Am I supposed to be doing something? Yes! I'm reviewing Jake Bugg's album! Sorry Piers, you're gonna have to wait till later. So yeah, on a serious note, I'm Green Giant and today I'll be reviewing Jake Bugg's 2012 album, Jake Bugg. I was first shown Jake Bugg by Harry in college, probably a couple of years ago now when the album came out. I can't remember what he showed me, but I just remember being blown away by it and just thinking, this guy's amazing. You know, how old is he? And as Harry's like, oh yeah, he's 18. 18? He's serious. To be at that level of that age, you know, competing probably quite easily with the big boys at the moment. You know, he's probably with the same level as sort of Noel Gallagher for me. He can easily compete with his songs. Jake Bugg sort of takes his songwriting influence from artists like Bob Dylan, the Beatles, a bit of Johnny Cash maybe, Jimi Hendrix, which we don't really see in this album much, but we see that in his follow-up album, which I will be reviewing next. And more modern artists, probably sort of the Oasis, Noel Gallagher sort of sound is definitely a big influence to this album, I would say. One of the main things you notice in his sort of lyrics is they feel real. You can see from his experiences in Clifton that some of this is stuff he's actually seen and done, and it doesn't feel like some of these other bands where they try and say, oh yeah, we smoke and we've done all this. And it's like, no, you haven't. Jake really has gone through this, and it's great. It really comes across. One of the main problems people have with Jake, though, is his voice. Some people find it a bit annoying. It's a bit of a Marmite situation, really. But personally, I really appreciate his vocals. I think they're great. You know, he has a good range and power behind his voice. I'm just going to say this now. This album's amazing. I probably am going to gush about it a bit too much, but I can't. You just can't help it. It's an awesome album. But it isn't without flaws. There definitely is a couple of problems with this album, which I will highlight as we go on. So, on with the track list. Now we start with Lightning Bolt. You must have heard this song. It was on multiple TV adverts back in 2012, 2013. So if you haven't heard it, go and listen to it along with the rest of the album. It's a great way to open the album, I feel. I love the fast-paced energy of the guitar parts and also where it all builds up. It's really good. This is where we start to hear one of the main problems on the album, though. Some of the mixing isn't ideal. I know what you're saying. It's, you know, George, it's his first album. Give the guy a break. But, you know, he was assigned to a label and it does have its flaws. For instance, it's mostly a problem with the bass throughout the album, really. Especially on Lightning Bolt, on the sort of guitar solo / interval parts. The bass just becomes really muddy and sort of unfocused. And there isn't really a lot of punch to it, which I feel it needs. I don't know, maybe it's just this style of music that everyone has their own opinion on how something should sound. For me, I don't know, I'd like a bit more sort of punch to the bass and a bit more focus, which we definitely see in the follow-up, but not on this. But on a positive note, this definitely shows Jake's great songwriting and his sort of lyrics, really. The amazing choruses he can come up with. Yeah, it's a really good start to the album. Yeah, and the next song is Two Fingers. This is one of 7 singles, which also, along with Lightning Bolt and others, which I think is quite a lot of singles to release from a first album, really. I think that might just be because, you know, he's a mainstream artist and they just want to sell the fuck out of him, pretty much. But I'm sure that wasn't Jake's decision. But, oh well, yeah, this carries on the great start to the album. The first few songs in this album are pretty much phenomenal. I really do enjoy them a lot. Talking about mixing in this, it's better, but bass maybe a bit overwhelming in verse 2. But once again, I've already talked about that, so yeah. One of the better things, though, is that it doesn't with the whole album really, it doesn't really suffer from over-compression. There's enough of a lift in the choruses, which is nice. You know, considering most modern music, it's all just over-compressed, so it's horrible, but this is good. And at the end of this song, Jake sings, I got out, I'm alive, and now I'm here to stay. He definitely is here to stay for a while if he keeps on writing songs like this, because, you know, it's amazing. The next song is Taste It. Now, I think it's probably a good point to talk about the backing group, sort of, really. The rhythm section, the drummer and the bassist. They're really good. Obviously, I know they're just session musicians, but they really do help to, you know, drive the album along. But, you know, like I said, at times the mixing drives them a bit too much, or not enough. So, but anyway, that's not Jake's fault. If you're talking purely about his songwriting and lyrics, awesome. Like in this song, Taste It, you know. It's a great song. Love the chorus, all the lyrics again, really good. The next song is Seen It All. Now, it's probably one of my favourite songs off the album. It's really good once again. I know I'm pretty much just saying all these songs are really good, but they are. It's hard not to disagree with that, I feel. But yeah, it's one of the great mixes on this album, I think. It definitely doesn't have the problem of bass overload like some of these songs do. And I think one of the good things, like I said about earlier, it does feel like Jake's seen sort of his stuff in Clifton. You know, he can talk about it, unlike artists who just come and make up, think, oh, I've done this, I've seen this. It's like, no, you haven't. So you've got someone else to write that for you, to make you seem like you're a well-rounded person with experiences of stuff. Like, no, you're not. Shut up. Next is Simple As This, and it's a great example of Jake's songwriting. I love how it opens, you know, that first minute of just him and an acoustic guitar, and then it builds, you know, into this really nice, well-sounding thing, which is mixed nicely. Once again, not too much bass, just enough. It's not over-compressed, there's plenty of room for manoeuvre, but yeah, it's a really good song. Probably, maybe one of my favourites, I think. And the next song is Country Song. This is just Jake and his acoustic guitar, and it's a really nice, short, sweet song. You know, just him and his guitar, you can really just feel. It shows that he doesn't need his backing band. He works by himself. He doesn't have to hide behind them. It demonstrates his amazing finger picking skills, and it's a chance for him to show off his vocals, which is it's really nice. And it sort of works as a nice, well, not interlude, but bringing down the sort of level a bit before it goes into Broken, which it sort of needs to. We've had this kind of more high energy stuff, and this brings it back down so we can easily transition into Broken, I think. Now for Broken, I'm sure you're aware there are two versions. One which came out in 2013, which was mixed by Rick Rubin, and then obviously there's the one on the album originally. The original version's good overall, you know, it's an amazing song at the time. I loved it when I first heard it on that album, but when Rick Rubin released his version, I just thought, I prefer this. This is definitely the definitive version of the song for me. I think it might just be because of, you know, fucking Rick Rubin's doing it, the mixing. It really helps bring the song together. But the only problem with Rick Rubin's version is the snare drum in the verse. It's a bit loud, and it's the wrong sort of snare drum. You know, the drum's properly hitting a snare drum, as opposed to the Jake Bugg version, where I think it was just a cross stick on the rim, which was much nicer and it wasn't intrusive. But overall, I still prefer Rick Rubin's version because of the quiet in the chorus, which was present in the original version, but it wasn't that loud in the mix. But in Rick Rubin's version, it really helps to build up the chorus and give it a proper lift, you know, which it needs. Now the next song is Trouble Town. I really like the feel to this song. I love what they've done with the sort of vocal sound. I'm not entirely sure. I think maybe like a high cut, you know, just take a bit of the high end off. But it really works. I think the only problem with it does slightly get a bit lost in the mix in certain points, obviously where the other instruments build up. But other than that, the song's pretty good. The lyrics are nice. It's really well done. Love it. Now the next song on the album is The Ballad of Mr. Jones. Now this is probably one of my favourite songs of the album. I really love the feel of this whole song. It's just awesome. One of the best mixes. I don't really have anything to say about the mix. In a bad way, I mean. Obviously, like I've just said, it's amazing, but there's nothing, no bass problems, not really any vocal problems. It's good. It's really well done. And I would probably suggest that if you're going to show someone Jake Bugg, maybe start with this. It's really good. And it sort of sums up his songwriting for me. Now the next song is Slide. This is where the album sort of goes to a quieter, more reflective sounding place, which is nice because there's been a lot of sort of big songs on the album, and then it all comes back down to this. It's a place where it allows him to show off his lyrics and his great vocals. There's definitely a great vocal performance on this song, and yeah, really good song. Now next we have Someone Told Me. Once again, an acoustic-led song, which really shows, you know, Jake could play these songs alone, and I think the album would do just as well, because, you know, he's amazing by himself. It's a pretty good song, but I'm not going to say that it's one of my favourites. I don't know why. Maybe he does a slightly different thing with his vocals, which isn't annoying. I don't know. It's not really a massive fan of it, I don't think, but it's a good song overall, but it's not my good song. Now the next song is Note to Self. This for me, along with Someone Told You, which I probably should have said back then, for me is the sort of the weaker section of the album. Not bad, just weaker in my personal opinion. Now Note to Self sort of goes for the more, it's more of an older sounding song to me. Unlike quite a lot of the album has a modern touch to it, but this song doesn't. It goes back to the old roots of this sort of music, which Jake takes influence from. It's a nice song, I can't deny that, but I'll probably skip it again, and I rarely find myself going back to it. But once again, it shows, yeah, it's a good song. He can write well. It's just not what I would choose to listen to of his. Now this is where the level comes back up again for the end. We have Someplace. It's a really good song again. You know, this could have ended the album. Obviously it doesn't. It ends with something else, which I prefer to end the album. But Someplace is really good. It definitely has. This is one of the biggest problems with the mix. Their bass. It's really overwhelming at some points. It's really loud. A lot of piercing because bass isn't piercing, but it's a problem, which, you know, it'd be nice if it was fixed, but it's what they went for, and we have to deal with it. But oh well, we still have a pretty awesome song that's been written really well and sung by Jake Bugg. Now the final song on this album is Fire. Now I quite like this song. The interesting fact about this song is that it was recorded on an iPhone, which gives it a sort of a lo-fi quality, which gives the song a sort of a reminiscent feel of a song maybe from around the wartime. And yeah, it really brings you back to there, and it's really nice. You know, once again, it's just Jake and his guitar, and it really works. It doesn't need a backing band, and they're not afraid to use interesting production techniques, which I think is quite a bold move. It's in, you know, mainstream album. It's a risky move. Most, you know, some of the younger fans would be like, what the fuck, why have you used a potato to record this? But I really appreciate it. It's a nice touch to add. Now overall, this is a great album. Like I said, it has a few mixing issues, but you can't really fault Jake Bugg's songwriting at all, I don't think. Like I said, some people find his voice annoying. I really enjoy his voice. I don't find it a problem at all. One of the best things about this album and Jake Bugg, I think, is that it appeals to so many audiences. He has quite a wide fan base. You go from sort of the mainstream, sort of young girls who go listen to him, it's like, oh my god, Jake Bugg, ah! Probably not quite like that, but, you know, they go probably mostly to see him and listen to his acoustic sort of love songs. It's like, oh my god, Jake, I love you so much, ah! Marry me, fuck off, whatever, you know? Yeah, they love him. And that's pretty cool. And then it appeals to people like me, proper music listeners, I would say, and we can appreciate his great songwriting and all of his music. And he's a really it appeals to many people. Some people will probably say, oh, he's stuck in that genre, move on. If it ain't broken, don't fix it. That's all I'm saying, you know. That works. We need more of that. To sort of remind the younger generation, you know, this is good music. This is what people should be listening to. Not fucking Justin Bieber and One Direction and all that shit. Listen to some decent music with some thoughts actually not gone into it. It's like, so what order can we put these 4 chords in today? You know, it's nice to see some actual work that has gone in, and this became a #1 album. You know, awesome. Great, some decent music finally in the charts, and non-decent people are actually listening to this decent music, which is, you know, it's amazing for me. It's a nice change, you know, because I'd love to see sort of rock music get back into, sort of properly into the charts again, which it isn't. It's being overtaken by these shitty boy bands who are talentless wankers. There, I said it. I've seen Jake live, and these songs really work well with a live audience. It's amazing, you know, hearing a whole crowd singing his songs. It reminded me of like when I saw Noel Gallagher, you know, these big choruses, everyone singing along to them. It's an awesome environment. I mean, some of the younger fans can be a bit of a pain in the arse, but yeah, oh well. You just try and forget about them, you know, because Jake, he's got a pretty cool stage persona. You know, he doesn't really have to do anything. He just sort of stands there, and it's awesome. You know, he rarely smiles or seems happy, apart from, you know, the occasional moment where the whole crowd sings something. He seems to be so, well, not overwhelmed, but it's just, he seems to enjoy it. He occasionally cracks one. I was going to say, occasionally cracks an off, and he definitely doesn't do that on stage. He occasionally cracks a smile, and it's a really nice moment. To give it a rating overall, I would probably say 9 out of 10. If we're going based on his songwriting alone, and not the mixing, I would definitely give him a 10 out of 10. So like I said, some of the mixing lets him down a bit, lets the album down a bit, but as a whole, this album's pretty awesome. For a first album, gone straight to #1, the boy did good. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this, and next time I'll be doing his 2013 album, Shangri-La, to follow up this, and, you know, tell you what I thought of that.